The U.S. federal government has changed its subsidies for electrified vehicles to favor the production of EVs and batteries in the United States. The policy shift eliminates the U.S. federal incentive on a number of electric autos built outside the country, including this one. So here is my updated look at one of the best electric cars at any price. This is the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5. Yes, they're really impossible to come by these days, but I've got one. Let's take it for a spin today on Family Wheels. As we get rolling, a simple request. Give Family Wheels a like, because your likes help keep the channel charged up. So does subscribing and clicking the little bell to be notified when the next review is out. And don't just talk back to the screen, leave a comment and share your thoughts. The Ioniq 5 was an instant success when it debuted in late 2021. Perhaps too much, as factors combined to make it the electric vehicle that many wanted but few could get. Rave reviews, a relatively low number of imports, and generous governmental subsidies drove estimated wait times to a year or longer. In the spirit of free enterprise, dealers in the U.S. were tacking on massive surcharges, and this was before gasoline prices tried to escape Earth's orbit in 2022. One factor, though, was suddenly removed in August 2022. The U.S. government eliminated the income tax credit of $7,500 on EVs made outside North America. Suddenly, the Ioniq 5, its cousin, the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Kona, and other offshore electrics were ineligible for the subsidy. Buyers with cars already on order were spared, but for everyone else, the price jumped. Yet, a quick search of U.S. dealers reveals that some are still gouging the public. In Canada, the federal subsidy remains at $5,000, while here in British Columbia it has been raised by $1,000 to $4,000, although BC's incentive is income tested. The full BC rebate is only available to people making less than $80,000 a year or households with income below $125,000. We've got a near-silent drive system, excellent sound insulation throughout, a pleasant, compliant suspension that isn't too soft, it's still a bit sporty. It all adds up to a terrific package here in the Ioniq 5. Two battery sizes are offered to Canadian buyers, 58 kilowatt hours and 77.4, but only the larger one is available in the U.S. Estimated range is determined by battery size and whether the Ioniq has rear-wheel or all-wheel drive. The base essential and preferred trims with a smaller battery are estimated to have 354 kilometers of range. The bigger pack, available in the preferred with rear-wheel drive, is estimated to give 488 kilometers, while the all-wheel drive version gets a second motor up front for more power, but a 412-kilometer range. The U.S. trims are SE, SEL, and Limited, each available with rear-wheel or all-wheel drive. Output for the all-wheel drive versions with a larger battery is a punchy 320 horsepower, while the rear-wheel drive trim has 225, 168 for the smaller battery. The AWD's torque is a grunty 446 pound-feet versus 258 for the long range. And that 300 horsepower or so is all you need in a vehicle this size. Credit to Hyundai, the all-wheel drive system handled that pile of torque I just put into it. There's absolutely nothing like the takeoff you get when you hit the pedal on an electric car. Hyundai lets you be as involved or uninvolved as you wish with the electric driving experience, thanks to a thoughtful variety of regeneration options. That's where, under coasting and braking, the electric motors become generators that put energy back into the battery. Don't care? Just want to drive? Pull the right paddle for about 1 second, and the system will switch to auto, changing the amount of regeneration according to traffic density and hills. But if you're a stick shift fan like me, the paddles can be flicked to manually adjust regen across 3 levels, which is both useful and fun. Additionally, there's an option for one-pedal driving. I wasn't crazy about the layout in the gauge cluster at first, but you get used to it. One aspect of the interior design that really did annoy me when I picked the vehicle up, and that is the background lighting for the two displays. You have a choice, light or dark, and the light was really starting to wear my eyes out, if you will. even during the daytime, so I switched it to dark and everything's fine. And of course, it'd be up to your personal taste. Another annoyance, and it's not one I can fix, there is no rear window wiper. The least expensive vehicle Hyundai makes, the Venue, has a rear window wiper. It should have a wiper for convenience and especially for safety reasons. A quibble rather than a deal breaker. These keeping up with the Tesla's door handles that pop out to greet you are not ergonomic. The controls of the Ioniq 5 will mostly be familiar to people who have driven a Hyundai or Genesis. Unfortunately, the hard buttons for seat heat and steering wheel heat, so often found on other models, have been eliminated and are now on a touchscreen accessed by pressing warmer. Thankfully, other HVAC and media functions remain in plain view, and I've always liked the Hyundai Star button, which can be programmed for a variety of functions such as turning the screen into a clock. The rest of the interior answers the question, what would the inside of a luxury personal spaceship look like? The envelope for front and rear occupants is generous, including plenty of elbow room thanks to the 5's wide stance. The seats are comfortable and do not suffer from Asian car short cushion syndrome. Plus, they're covered in a plant-based faux leather that feels great, as good or better than the Mercedes version, according to my backside. And with our top-spec Ultimate package, they're ventilated and heated. The party trick here is the reclining seat with leg rest, intended for those who would like a little nap while the 5 is charging. If you have a garage, a level 2 charger that's out of the cold provides the greatest convenience and lowest price for any EV, but especially the increasing number of autos that have 77 kilowatt-hour batteries that take a long time to recharge. In the public charging world, the Ioniq 5 can connect to the top-spec 350 kilowatt-hour charger, but Hyundai forgot to publicize that its maximum intake is in the low 200 range. Nonetheless, it makes for speedier charging, but a 150 kilowatt-hour station will do fine. Many of the DC fast chargers in my area are still putting out just 50 kilowatt-hours. A charged-up Ioniq 5 can give back its electricity in a process called vehicle-to-load, or V2L. An adapter plugs into the charging port and provides a conventional 3-prong outlet. There's a second 120-volt outlet under the rear seats. They can be used for everything from recharging your laptop to camping needs to running your refrigerator in a power outage. Our typical cargo of 3 bags of groceries, a backpack, and a stroller does fit with room to spare in the Ioniq 5. However, there are some quirks. There's a bit of a high lift over here, and the floor is a bit high. There is a small storage compartment under here, several inches high, but a lot of it is taken up by the Bose audio equipment. There's ample room for a baby seat in the Ioniq 5. Behind me, a rear-facing child seat, the one that takes up the most space. Up front, I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall, 180 centimeters, and I've got plenty of knee room. The long wheelbase of the Ioniq 5 certainly pays dividends for rear seat passengers. I've got all kinds of knee room here. Of note, each side of the rear seats is independently adjustable fore and aft, adjustable for rake as well. At this trim, we have heated seats. As for heating and ventilation, most of it comes from outlets in the door pillars. There are no HVAC vents in the back of the center console. There is, however, a small bin down here. And at this trim level, we have the de rigueur luxury item these days, a panoramic moonroof. Of note, it does not open. Well, no wonder the Hyundai Ioniq 5 sold out as fast as it did. It is a terrific vehicle. It is now one of the leaders in the electric vehicle segment. But what do you think? Leave a comment. As always, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for watching. I'm Richard Detman, and I'll see you next time on Family Wheels.